I think the thing that set off a lot of people was this moment, right? This whole entire thing. May I say something to you? The dog you're raising doesn't love you at all. So where do you find a man to love you, right? Or a wife to love you? So this is it, the last live, April 13th, right? And this, I think, concludes our week of drama with Englot. I guess in this live, the main thing that had people upset was P-Sun essentially telling Ingfa that when she was talking about wanting a wife and all that, P-Sun essentially came back with something to the effect of, you know, you're never gonna get a wife. No one loves you. Not even your dogs love you. In English, it sounded harsh as hell, which is why people were reacting, because even I was like, what the hell? Who? What? Who? Why would you say something like that? There's been a whole back and forth about how in Thai it's not as severe sounding and it's something people say and they were just joking. I have my own thoughts about it, but let's get into it. We're going to get into the live and then I'm going to tell you what I think, right?
ไม่คิวเราได้ตี 4หรือยัง
ทำไมเราไม่นั่งข้างหน้าข้างหน้ามันตึกดูแบบอากาศโปร่งลมถ่ายเท
เขาจะนั่งใกล้แฟนเขาไงใช่นั่งใกล้แฟนเขา
He wants to sit next to his boyfriend friend. Otherwise, it wouldn't be the buffet sani what.
งั้นฉันก็ไม่ใช่บุฟเฟ่สันนิวาสนะ
บุฟเฟ่บุฟเฟ่อะไรหนูหน้าหนูบุฟเบี้ยวค่ะบุฟบี้อยู่ชีวิตค่ะบุฟปี
See, this is them joking. This is them joking. This is them joking, right? Okay.
หนูสวยมาก
Okay. So this is them joking, right?
มันไม่เหมือนกันนะ
บุกเบี้ยวเหรอ
ว่าเขาหรอแฟนว่าหรอ
โดนบุกเพเลยนั่นก็บุกปการีเขายี่ดอกจะมาเป็นบุกเพคือจะบ้าเฮ้ยกูเหนื่อยว่ะขอโทษแทนเพื่อนด้วยนะครับ
อะไรนะพี่ไก่ตุ๋น
เล็กตีนตุ๋นไก่
Okay, so notice that I think notice that he's joking about Fa's face being crooked. Notice Fa is laughing her ass off, right? And of course, she is Miss Grand Thailand. This is a beautiful woman, right? So this isn't something that is going to touch on a vulnerability or an insecurity. It's not even something that's remotely close to true, right? So your friend said your face is crooked. You can laugh about it because it's nonsense. It's a nonsense. You can be like, oh, is my face crooked? And it's more so how he's speaking than what he's actually saying. Like, you know that thing when someone is teasing you and the way they're doing it is so hilarious, right? Aside from whatever it is you're saying. All right.
ปีนไทย
ตีนตุ่ม
ตีนตุ่ม
ไม่มีไก่เป็นกินตีนหรอ
ควักเงินมาเลี้ยงเขาควักเงินมาเลี้ยงเขา
พี่มีพี่เพิ่มลูกชิ้นได้ปะลูกชิ้น
Ingfa is dressed casually as hell and she still looks gorgeous, bruh.
อะไรคะพี่
เล็กเนื้อเปื่อย
โอ้ใส่2 ลูก
ลูกชิ้นเนื้อเปื่อยครับงั้นเอา
งี้ก็พี่เอาลูกชิ้นลวกอีกด้วยหนึ่งด้วย
ให้พี่นะยังไม่ได้กิน
แล้วไม่ถ้ากี่ชามจะใส่2 ลูกไม่กี่ผักก่อนแต่ว่าถ้ามันเยอะขนาดนี้ก็เอาให้อีกมา
ไม่แล้วใส่ฉัน2 ลูก
กูขำจนเยี่ยวจะเล็ด
ไข่เปื่อยค่ะเอาไงอ่ะ
มีคนจะรู้ความจริงว่าจริงๆฟ้าคือผู้ชายไม่ได้ผ่าด้วยแล้วมาประกวด
Okay, so now they're joking around about Ingfa having Okay. Meatballs, essentially.
รู้แล้วกันนะทางนั้น
เล่นน้ำจนคุยเปื่อยไปเลย
Wow. Wow.
เฮ้ย
นะ
ลูกชิ้นเนี่ยเปื่อยจ้า2 ลูกนะ
โอเค2 รูปเหมือนเดิม
จริงเหรอ
แล้วเธอไม่บอกเขาเล่า
จะสั่งลูกชิ้นลวกให้หล่อนแล้ว
ชิ้นลูกมาด้วยไหม
ไม่อะไรนะเอาเลยสั่งมาดิ
โอเคชิ้นลูกไม่กำลังมา
เฮ้ยแป๊บนึงนะคอนแทคเพื่อนคือข้างบนอุ้ยคนกินข้าวอยู่ข้างเสียงดังขอโทษแทนเพื่อนด้วยนะคะ
โทษแทนเพื่อนค่ะ
He said like it's you. You're the one who's speaking loudly.
เดี๋ยวน้องเสียงดัง
เขาบอกว่าไม่ทันแล้วค่ะ
ได้เลย
เขาถามว่าลืมไปป่าวว่าฉันไลฟ์อยู่
เอาจริงเหรอ
ใช่
ไลฟ์เหรอ
ไลฟ์อยู่นานละ
ขอโทษแทนเพื่อนด้วยนะทุกคนในไลฟ์รู้พี่ฟ้าไลฟ์อ่ะจะต้องพูดพอ
อยากมีเมียหาอะไร
มันคือไงเดี๋ยว
What do you mean by can he find one for you? We found one for you. The whole damn world. Look. Fate and space and time. Okay? Conspired. Okay? To put you and Charlotte at the right place at the right time. If you want a wife, right? As opposed to a husband. If you want a wife. We got your wife. You got your wife. What? Look, bruh. Look, just date the girl and freaking propose and stop. Come on now. Stop going back. We're tired. Okay, we're tired. Come on. Okay? You have a wife. Alright? She's the girl who was literally sitting between your legs. That's your wife. That's your wife.
พูดอะไรกับน้อง
Alright. So, I think this is what he said. Right? Apart from maybe other people taking maybe the first part a bit seriously, this is what he said that I think really upset people. May I say something to you? The dog you're raising doesn't love you at all. So where do you find a man to love you or a woman, right?
หมาที่น้องเลี้ยงอ่ะมันยังไม่รักน้องเลยไม่ติดเลย เอาผู้ชายที่ไหนมารักฉันงง
นั่นแหละเมียค่ะ
เมียก็ไม่มีค่ะหมายังไม่รัก
You probably won't have a wife because even a dog doesn't love you, right? Let me watch, right? Because I haven't even watched it. So before I tell you what I think, let's watch it through. And then if I have to come back and break it, I'll come back. But notice she didn't laugh at that, right? She laughed at the crooked face. She laughed at all the other ones. She
ไม่
didn't
มี
laugh at
ค่ะ
that.
หมายังไม่รัก
ขอบคุณของขวัญนะคะ
จบ
นัดอะไรเธอนอนกับฉันจะเห้า
โอเคนั่นเลยเดี๋ยวฉันให้ห้องฉันก็ได้วันนี้จีไม่อยู่
ฉันนอนคนเดียวเนาะเดซันจะไปไหนเอ่ยอย่ามาเห้าเป็นกลัวผีอยู่
โอ้ขนาดเราผีเราผีขนาดนั้นเลยเหรอ
ถ้าผีมาขอ
Do you remember the time when Fa was telling, like, Charlotte was scared of ghosts, and so she was crying, and Fa was like, don't be scared. Any ghost will be terrified of me. You don't have to be scared. I'm right here. I got you. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm.
จะมาทำอะไรให้ทาย เขาจะมาลำแล้วก็ร้องเพลงตอนทำขวัญนาคท่อนหนึ่งที่ให้เขาลำไง จังหวะไหนสมมติทำขวัญนาคท่อนไหนจะได้ลำเพลงอะไรได้ลำ
นอนตัก
นอนตักลองสักท่อนหนึ่งเชิบ
เคยเจอแน่วันเนี้ย
เธอลองก่อนท่อนหนึ่ง
เคยท้าทายอ่ะ
อุ๊ยฉันเรียกเธอเลยถ้าจะเห็นผ่านไปเห็นปุ๊บฉันเรียกแกฟ้าเลย
จะหลับค่ะเมาหลับแล้วเนาะ
อ้าวแล้วเธอไม่ร้องเพลงแล้วใครจะรำได้ล่ะ
ก็เธอเรียกมาทำไมอ่ะ
เธอเรียกอ่ะ
อยู่ดีๆเขามาลำแห้งๆหรอ เราคิดถึงภาพคนมาลำเงี้ยเงียบ
ลำไม่ว่าเอาชดาออกก่อนกลัวหนัก หนูว่าใส่ชดาถ่ายงานแป๊บเดียวยังเจ็บเลยนะนึกถึงคนสมัยก่อนเวลเขาใส่แบบใส่ลำอ่ะ
แล้วก็เขาไม่มีเทคนิคแบบเรานะสมัยนี้
เจ็บขนาดไหนวะ
ๆเลยนะพี่จ๋า พี่เขาเข้าใจกูโบนะขอโทษแทนเพื่อนด้วยนะคะอ้าวโอเคพี่พาพี่ตังค่ะโอเคจบ
ค่ะ2,000เหรอ
120ได้ไหมล่ะคนกันเอง
หนูไลฟ์อยู่ก็เลยโอนไม่ได้
I'm doing live, that's why I can't pay. It's a joke about not wanting to pay of Thai people. Oh, they might go to the
โอเค ไม่โอนละ
I get it. So like trying to avoid the bill, right? Okay.
เล่นนะเดี๋ยวพี่จะ
ไปแล้วนะทุกคน บ๊ายบาย
เมียเขา
Okay. So coming back, right? Coming back. I think the thing that set off a lot of people was this moment, right? This whole entire thing. May I say something to you? The dog you're raising doesn't love you at all. So where do you find a man to love
เลี้ยง
you,
อ่ะ
right?
มันยัง
Or
ไม่
wife
รัก
to
น้อง
love
เล
you?
ยไม่ติดเลย เอาผู้ชายที่ไหนมารักฉันงง
นั่นแหละเมียค่ะ
เมียก็
And
ไม่
he said this. He said this. You probably won't have a wife because even a dog doesn't
มี
love
ค่า
you.
หมายังไม่รัก
All right.
เมียก็ไม่มีค่าหมายังไม่รัก
So let's talk about a couple of things. Number one, we have to understand that this is being said in a different language and is being translated, right? As good as PM Variety's translations are, as long as it's a translation, there will always be something that falls through the cracks. It's like Chinese whispers, right? Even if you get exactly word for word what they said, you might miss intonation, you might miss context, you might miss a whole bunch of other things that are going to change the meaning of what you heard, right? So we have to recognize that. What I saw from the discussions I screened on Twitter is that some people were of the opinion that this moment he was unforgivably rude, and basically insulting, right? Other people were like, it's in Thai, number one, it doesn't sound as bad as it sounds in English. Because I'm not gonna hold you in English. This is a straight insult. You probably won't have a wife because even a dog doesn't love you. You don't say that to your friend. You don't even say that to your enemies. You know what I'm saying? In English, this seems very offensive, right? So that's number one, the Thai English translation divide, right? Number two that we have to keep in mind is that people do have a relationship that is based off of playful banter, right? And that playful banter, they can sometimes say things that, to an outsider, it seems insulting or offensive, but between themselves, they understand their relationship and they're fine. So we have to also recognize that that is a thing. Like roasting is part of Black American culture. There are friendships that are built around taking the mickey or taking the crap out of each other. Like it's also there. And from the beginning, we saw this sort of, not so much with Fa, it's more coming from Pisan, but we did see that sort of banter, right? Talking about her face being crooked and Fa's laughing her ass off like, is it really crooked? Okay. So they have that, a little bit of that playful banter in their relationship already, right? All right. That being said, all that taken into account, all that being recognized, I point out two things. I point out number one, when he made that joke about her face being crooked, like I said, it wasn't something that dealt with the core of who Fa was as a person, because it's obviously not true. She's gorgeous, right? It's not something that had the propensity to touch her as an insecurity. She's fabulous. She knows it. You know what I'm saying? So if you tell me that was a joke, I get that. But number one that I want to point out is this one. When he said what he said, she didn't laugh. It wasn't even like I'm trying to fake laugh, like, she just didn't. She was looking down into her noodles. And when you say something that hurts someone, or you say something that the person has a reaction that they don't want you to see, they're going to look down. They're going to keep their eyes down. And I think what set a lot of people off is the fact that Fa didn't react. Fa wasn't laughing. Fa didn't seem to be entertained by this comment.
นั่นแหละเมียค่ะเมียค่ะ
เมียก็ไม่มีค่ะหมายังไม่รัก
Right? It's a small moment. It's a second. Maybe you say that if the video had gone on for longer than that, she would have laughed. Who knows? But
เมียก็ไม่มีค่ะหมายังไม่รัก
but that non-reaction, it can say a lot, right? And then there's the added fact that what makes so people are saying, some people are saying, oh, it's just a joke, lighten up, just a joke, lighten up. To this, I have to say personally, I don't like this narrative that we are getting, that, oh, as long as you say anything to anyone and then you add it's a joke, they're not allowed to feel some type of way about it because you put it's a joke. So you can sit there and insult someone to their face and then add, I'm just teasing you, I'm just joking. And the person is supposed to automatically be happy? No. Regardless of whether you meant it as a joke or not. You can say something you meant as a joke that didn't land as a joke. It landed as an insult, and you have to take responsibility for that. I meant it to be a joke is not good enough. It's just not. It's the risk you run when you make jokes that border as insults. A person with comedic talent and skill is a person who can say something that could border on insulting, but you're laughing. That person actually gets you laughing. That's a joke. You say something insulting to someone, it hurts their feelings, it offends them. That's not a joke. That's an insult. You failed as a comic, right? You failed. You didn't have the skill to carry that thing through. Okay. So for me, regardless of whether or not you mean something as a joke, two things can make what you've said inappropriate, right? Number one, it can be inappropriate what you're saying. And number two, it can be inappropriate when you're saying it. In fact, three, it can be inappropriate to whom you're saying it. There are some jokes I may say with my friends. It's perfectly fine. Around my mom, around some other adults, suddenly it becomes inappropriate to tell those jokes. There's that, right? Then there's the content of the joke, which is part of this. People who joke about like things like rape, cancer, death. You have to be careful, because if you don't have the skill to actually make this a joke, you're just an asshole. It's true. So it's not good enough to say I meant it to be a joke. You have to have comedic skill. If you don't, stay away from jokes like that. You can't tell them. Right? Okay. Then the third thing is when you're telling the joke. And by when you're telling the joke, I mean, what is the environment? Right? If somebody, your friend, comes to you and is very serious, is very sad, telling you, I just went to the doctor's office, I hear I've got cancer, that would be a shit time for you to start joking around about cancer. Right? Unless that person is the kind of person who responds to humor, you might try and make a joke and the person will be like, what the hell? And you're laughing at me? Right? So by when, I mean, you have to, it ties into the who is hearing the joke as well. You have to know your audience. You have to know who you're talking to. You have to know how they might respond to something like that. You have to know whether this is going to be a sore spot or a soft spot. And then you have to ask yourself, is this an environment? Is this a time in which I can be joking with this person, or does this person need me to be serious? Right? So they're out. They're sitting, they're chilling with their friends, they're eating, and Fa's like, I want a wife. And it's something she's probably said before. And we all know Charlotte is in the picture. P-Sun probably knows Charlotte is in the picture. So it's not necessarily a cry for help. Right? It's not necessarily a cry for help. So this could probably be a time to joke, right? Fair. The when is fine. Right? So we're coming to the content, and now we're coming to who he's telling that joke to. Now, Ingfa as a person, you have to know, like I said, you have to know if your friend is the kind of friend who might respond to a joke like that, how they might take it, so on and so forth. Ingfa as a person, we know, right, gets lonely a lot. Ingfa gets lonely to the point where she's on lives. Right after she wakes up, she's on lives as she's brushing her teeth. She's falling asleep. And the live is still on because the girl just wants that form of human contact, human connection. We know Ingfa is someone who has been battling depression and has to take like care with her mental state, because if she's letting negative things in, it can mess her up, right? We know that about Ingfa. We also know that Ingfa is someone who feels some type of way about the fact that she's 28 going on to 29. She wants to settle down. She wants to find someone. She feels time is running out. This is an insecurity that she's been very, very open about. It's a sensitive spot. It's something that is close to her heart in a way that maybe a friend joking about her having a crooked face might not be, right? In light of all of these things, out of everything he could have said in response to I want a wife, including teasing her about Charlotte, right? Even your dog doesn't love you. You probably will never have a wife because even a dog doesn't love you. That's probably not the best thing he could have said. Okay, and the fact of the matter is, even if he claims it's a joke, we can say things we mean as jokes and they still hurt people, which is why most of the time we're encouraged to use words that are edifying, that will build people up, that will nourish them. Even when we're joking, right? You can tell a joke that is based off of wit and humor, and like there are those people who trade insults and that's their friendship. Personally, I don't like that. It's like if it's teasing, if it's playful banter, fine. But I know a friend who's now less of my friend, partly because of this, who will take any opportunity to criticize you, any opportunity to talk down, to make you feel small. And then the person, right after they've said the shitty thing, they'll laugh and then they'll say it's a joke. And that's supposed to make it okay. Like, you can be searching for a Netflix show on the TV or watching YouTube on the TV, and that entire process of typing letters with the remote, right? If you're like, isn't there an easier way to do this? That person might turn to you and be like, what, you're 28 and you can't even operate a remote? And then they'll laugh like, no. Those little negative things, whilst your self-esteem is up, whilst you're healthy, whilst you're keeping yourself busy, those things won't affect you. It'll bounce off. But hearing or having that kind of person in your space criticizing you day after day after day, you're not even gonna notice what it's doing to your mental state until one day you're down and all this nonsense that you've been imbibing from this so-called friend is coming to mess you up. There have been times I've been teased by like my brother, my family member, other friends, right? And at the time, you're even laughing, right? But then the moment is over and the words are still in your head. There have been times that like I've been teased about my weight. Someone will jiggle like the fat under my arm. Someone will tell me that my legs are like tree trunks, and the person is meaning it as a joke. The person will tickle you afterwards. The person will laugh afterwards. The person is doing everything in their power to make it a joke, and the person means it as a joke, so you're trying not to get upset. But afterwards, sometimes those words stay with you, and I've had that experience where, now suddenly you're self-conscious about your body. It's like, oh, is this how everyone sees me? Right? And yet at the time, the person was joking. This is a person who was tickling you, laughing with you, everything. But the words that they spoke still carried weight, still had power. And because they were negative words, they had negative power. Right? So I say all this to say this, right? Sometimes when you have a relationship with a friend and you're very close and you sometimes do banter, especially if it's your personality, and it seems that this is P-Sun's personality. It seems like he's the kind of person who does those little jabs, those like little teasing, blah, 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 whatever. Okay. Sort of sarcastic, sort of quirky, like that seems to be his general personality. Sometimes when you're very close to a person, you don't really consider how these things might play out because you've been bantering, you've been playing, you've been teasing them, but whatever, it's never been a big deal, blah, blah, blah. So you might slip up and tease them in a way that it might come out in a way you don't intend it to, right? Personally, I don't, I wouldn't have joked like this. I wouldn't have said this, especially if I know that this is something that is like close to the heart of my friend. This is an insecurity that Infa has, that she'll never find someone that she's able to love and settle down with. This is not like it's not a game. This is something that bothers her in real time. Why in the world would I joke about this? And my joke, is it a joke about the kind of wife I will find her, or the dating process I'll take her through? My joke is that you're never gonna find a wife. No one is ever gonna love you. What the hell kind of joke is that? What is that? Personally, I don't know. I think we could have thought this whole thing through a bit more. Then again, they're out, they've been drinking, he's with his friend, he's not intending to hurt her, so he's not really thinking about how certain things can come out. And it happens, and it's human. It just so happens that because they film so much of their lives, they've caught this moment. But we have moments like this with our friends where we say things that might hurt them in ways that we're not anticipating. It's not on our radar, it's not our intention. All I can say about this, therefore, is that, for those on Twitter and social media and seeing this who don't like this, yeah, you have the right to not like it. I don't like it. I wouldn't joke with my friends like this. I wouldn't advise joking with my friends like this. I don't particularly like people who joke like this. It's not my thing. I don't really vibe with it. That being said, there are some people who are trying to basically cancel P-Sun. And I remind those people that Tufa, he is close. He is almost like a brother to her, if not her brother. I'm not quite sure about their relationship. And she has commented before about times when P-Sun has been there for her, has held her down, has taken care of her. So in as much as you have the right to not like what he said, in as much as you have the right to seek clarification, even if you'd like to know what he meant by that, I would advise that you don't go off on Twitter insulting him, calling him names, cussing him out in the name of defending Fa, because Fa, this is someone that she cares about, right? She's not going to thank you for dragging his name in the mud. She's not going to thank you for insulting him. She's not going to thank you for hurting him, right? Basically. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about this drama. Yeah. I give him the benefit of the doubt that it's not intended to be malicious. But then I also say, maybe just, or even to you guys, like with your friends, just be careful about the kinds of things that you're saying. Because I bet you, if right now you went to ask like 5 or 10 of your friends if they're okay with, the way maybe you tease them or play with them or whatever, I bet you at least two out of those 10 will come back to tell you that, oh, when you said this time, it hurt my feelings, but it's okay. I know it's just a joke. Da, 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 da. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might be surprised at how many times people are put off by the things we say, but they just let it go because they don't want to be that person who is like too something, So just watch what you say. Just watch what you say. There's a style to playful banter. There's a style to teasing that is fun and light and creative. But it's not, I don't know. This came out clunky. It came out, Then again, this is a translation. It could be that it wasn't what he actually said. For me personally, I'm just going off of these 2 seconds. Inkfa's reaction right here.
เมียก็ไม่มีค่ะหมายังไม่รัก
When someone gets quiet like that, that could be a moment where they took your words in, right? Later on, when she's feeling sad and she's feeling alone and she's feeling depressed, those words might be words that come back. They may not come back even with P-Sun's voice, but the words will come back. I'm never going to find a wife. No one really loves me. Da, 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 da. So why? Why be one more voice adding to that narrative, Yeah. Anyway, like I said, go ahead. You can not agree. You can not like the joke. You can not like the teasing. You can choose not to tease people around you like this. You can choose to have a more edifying way of joking with your friends. I encourage all of that. But I would say it's best in situations like this, especially considering that this is someone who's close to her. This is someone she considers a friend, enough to come out in just a t-shirt, you know, and they're eating noodles and drinking beer. Like, this is one of her people. To not take the approach of just straight up attacking him, thinking that you're going to be protecting her. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, you know what? Hold on. We have come to the end. I hope that you have enjoyed this as much as I've enjoyed reacting to it. I hope I've been able to shed some light on what's going on with Englot, or at the very least, right, you know that you have someone who is just as confused as you. So it's either one of two things. Either I answer the question, or you have gotten a buddy in the conspiracy theory business, and we're going to be breaking these things down and theorizing about what's going on. Either way, we're in this together. That's what I'm saying. Go ahead and put in the comments. I've asked you many things throughout this live, so I hope that you have been putting it in the comments. If there's anything that you want me to react to, go ahead and put it down there. If you would like to stay tuned, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell notification icon so you can be notified every time I drop a new video. And it's been a pleasure. I'll see you guys. Bye bye.